a lifetime. So other data suggests that gender-based violence cases numbering in tens of thousands over the last decade have been recorded through official channels like the sexual assault referral centers. But if these things are happening, how can we help them heal? Because in the African context, when something happens, they come to heal. That's what we're talking about.
Against her aunt's husband, a man she despised, being made to call uncle. And she was just 8 years old, and she was just an 8-year-old, innocent, fulfilled, and lively child like other children her age when she was sexually molested by her uncle. And several other examples that we can't, tell today on the show. But then, to discuss this and to put into perspective, we are being joined by Barrister Bodisere Ogbise Godihari, a respected legal practitioner and advocate for justice. She brings legal insight, human rights perspective, and real-world experience to this conversation, and she's going to help us understand both the rights of survivors and the responsibilities of the state and society. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Glad to be here. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Same to you as well. Well, this is not just a legal issue, right? Of course, we're not going to legal all the way. It is a moral, social, and a public health emergency. So if we are serious about building a just and humane Nigeria, then we must move beyond condemnation to meaningful support systems that protect, empower, and restore survivors. So stay with us as we unpack the realities. You know how we do it on Let's Talk Nigeria. Your contribution matters because this is the program that you always wait for. It's Let's Talk Nigeria. All right, so we're looking at the prevalence of sexual violence in Nigeria and rehabilitating survivors. We have Barrister Bodisere Ogbise Godihari with us this morning. And let's start by asking her the very simple question. Well, simple if you may, but not that simple. How widespread is sexual violence in Nigeria, and why is it still largely underreported? And then if you more ask what are the biggest barriers survivors face when seeking justice? Basically. Well, let's start with number two, because the widespread sexual violence, it's already a known matter. But what are the biggest barriers survivors face when seeking justice?
Okay, like you've just said, there is no state in Nigeria that we don't record cases of sexual abuse or sexual violence. Nigeria is even a global issue, because not just in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, we've read, we've heard, we've witnessed cases of sexual violence and abuse on women, girls, and even boys. So it's something that is on the global discourse right now. Now you talked about the issue of the survival. That is one aspect that, like you said, has been undermined, underrated, and underestimated in terms of intervention and all of that. The first thing is the issue of stigmatization. A woman is raped, and the question is, what were you doing there? Now you ask yourself, a child that was also defiled, a child on diaper, what was the child doing that she was also sexually abused? So the issue of stigmatization is one that we need to look at. Like when I was the chairperson of FIDA Bielsa, I said, stop the shame and let's expose the perpetrator. I tagged the activity I had, name and shame the perpetrator. Because the attention is being shifted from the person that has committed the act to the person that is a victim, the survivor. It's one thing that we really need to look at. That aspect has also discouraged relatives from reporting. That aspect of attacking the survivor has also made it impossible for us to secure conviction in most cases, because eventually they don't.
This stigma you talked about, it's quite widespread. Is it because of fear, or I don't want to have a broken home, let's just manage it within ourselves? That's why this thing is still festering as far as it's gone this far.
No, first and foremost, the society has not helped. A girl that is raped and grows up to become a full-blown young girl might not even get married because of that incident. True. It is still these members of the society that will say, you didn't know what happened to Dise. You didn't hear that Dise was raped when she was a child. The society has not helped. So most times parents want to cover such incidents because they feel that they want to protect their children. But that is not really how it ought to be. Apart from the fact that the society has not helped, I also know for a fact that most women want to preserve their homes. They want to preserve their marriages, but it is at the detriment of that child that has been defiled. I know of a case at Igbogini that a stepfather defiled his daughter, and the mother took her to Abuja. It was in a program like this that they called me, that the mother took her to Abuja and made sure that they terminated the pregnancy because the girl got pregnant. She was trying to save her marriage. Now, we should move from all those sentimental feelings and begin to realize that the future of that girl child or that victim matters. It should be top priority than looking at the fact that, okay, my marriage and all of that. As I speak with you, between January, we are not even, this is not even the end of January. We have recorded about 4 cases of stepfathers abusing their daughters. With just one of them that we just found out that the mother is trying to protect her husband. But every other, the women involved have decided to take up the matter. She has even made up her mind to move out of the home. So it's about the fact that the stigmatization is there. I want to save my home. And sometimes the women also feel that the men have the money. They can fight them back. But that's not the case. That's why we keep talking. We render pro bono services, free legal services. So most times the women are not financially buoyant. So they feel that, if I now report my husband, or if I report this uncle that has defiled my daughter might not go to school. We might be sent out of our home. Where are we going to stay and all that? So these are some of the issues, financial issues and all that have made it thrived to this point. And then the fact that most of them are still not aware of where and whom to get help from has also made some of these cases thrive. We keep talking, but maybe we need to move further into our local communities, because in our communities we find out that these cases are so many. In fact, what we have taken upon ourselves for Do Foundation is that we'll move to our local communities, try to get statistics, try to get data, and try to do further sensitization to prevent such occurrences. That's what we plan to do. But finance, ignorance of what the law says, who to run to, has also made these cases thrive to this extent. And then, like I said, psychosocial support. A child that has been abused should not further be abused. Take them to the necessary relevant agencies that provide psychosocial support. I have a case right now on ground. She kept on narrating the incident to the mom. The mom said, "You want to break my marriage." The girl ran into depression, and she felt my mom is not listening to me. And then it was a teacher in her school that had to make her say it out, that it's my stepfather that has been doing this to me. So a child of that nature needs serious psychosocial support. She needs to know that she can still go back to school, because the stepfather has said, once you tell people, I won't train you in school, I want your education, that's the end for you and all of that. So all those worries, and this girl has said, I want to be a doctor. So she's scared that if the stepfather does not take care of her anymore, she might not go to school again.
Okay, let's just pause there on the thought, and we'll return from this commercial break. We'll continue with the conversation.
This is your golden moment. 97.5 Golden FM, the gold standard of radio.
It's time again to decide who takes the Ijaw National Congress INC to the next level in the INC 2026 elections. A leader who manages, a builder who creates, a heart that gives back to society, offers himself for service. Alaba Onengi James OON, a disciple of Chief Harold Dapabriye, Paul Edwin Clark, and a firm believer of Boroism, Okiloism, and a just struggle with over 30 years of experience, served in Mosend, IYC, Bayov, and INC as Vice President. Alaba Onengi James, as a career administrator, professional mediator and arbitrator, an accomplished entrepreneur and a philanthropist, is the man for the job, determined to make Ijaw Nation greater. Vote Alaba Onengi James OON for President INC. A vote for Alaba Onengi James is a vote for administering growth, and it guarantees to make a difference. Vote wisely.
Everybody sing with me. I am a winner. I am a winner, not a loser. I am a winner.
politics, economy, society. We break it all down on Let's Talk Nigeria, weekdays at 9 a.m. on Golding 97.5 FM, Yenagoa.
All right, welcome back to the conversation. The prevalence of sexual violence in Nigeria and rehabilitated a survivor. We have Barrister Bodisere Ogbisegodi Harry with us here, so you're doing pretty well. And you over there, I guess you'll learn a couple of things here. But, this question is very dear to me. For example, this case of the Shakiro Bamidele, who picked up a knife in the moment of terror to defend herself against her aunt's husband, who, was trying to do all of that. She suffered, but then she was about to be abused again. And then she picked up the knife. And she recalled that he's been abusing her since she was 8. And she's growing and she's beginning to understand things. But this time around, because of trauma, she picked up the knife one day. In that situation, she's a survivor. She's not been rehabilitated yet.
Yeah.
But then in the course of doing...
And use. Especially when, for me, when you've shared someone that you look up to as your father.